From deep in the heart of Texas, it's On Second Thought, powered by Hook'em.com. Hosted since 2016 by your favorite sports columnists, Cedric Golden of the Austin American-Statesman and Kirk Bohls of the Houston Chronicle. Let's do it, fellas.
This is On Second Thought, your friendly neighborhood sports podcast. Cedric Golden here with Taylor's favorite duck, Kirk Bohls. Duck, it only took 375 episodes, but we've got another big fish. Dari Nowkhah from the SEC Network is on. I've been watching him for years. Love how he keeps those guys loose on SEC now. Dari, how are you today?
I'm good, man. I appreciate the kind words. It's good to be with you guys.
Well, you're a favorite of ours, and I don't know, you may have the dream job. I don't know. You just seem to enjoy your job so much.
I do, Kirk. I have a great time. It's very cliche, but it's great because of who I work with. I mean, it doesn't hurt that, we're sitting in a studio all day Saturday with 8 games on at once, but it's also fun because of who I'm working with, and we've just got such a great, friendly, fun, loose relationship that there's nowhere else I'd rather be on a Saturday in the fall, or frankly, even like during basketball season than hanging out with my friends in the studio.
Man,
I like to watch. How do you watch 8 games? Ced's got one of those big screen TVs. He can watch 8 games, but
whatever.
I'm not going to lie. It sometimes gets a little overwhelming. Like I'll be watching it with Ben Watson, Chris Doring, and one of us will be like, "Oh, what a catch!" And the other two are like, "Where? What channel? What monitor?" Middle right. Oh, middle right. It's
that narrows it down.
I'll tell you, by Saturday night when we're done, man, mentally just shot. I can't keep up with any. I can't watch anymore. Yeah, it's tough.
How does that differ from you did Sports Center, which we all grew up on Sports Center. You did Sports Center, then you transition over to a weekly studio show where it's very immersed on the weekend with college football. Then I know you do basketball and baseball. How does that change your way of doing things in the office?
Oh, it's Sports Center was great. That was kind of where I wanted to get through my educational path and my local television track. Everybody kind of wants in TV wants to do that show, and it was great. I loved it. I did it for probably 6 or 7 years, and it's different though because it's not like you're saying, Ted. It's not just college football. I've got to be up on the NFL, the NBA, Major League Baseball, the NHL. Weekends, you'd interview a NASCAR winner from the race that day. So it was certainly it was certainly different. And at the same time, it's also a lot more scripted. I would write more of the show. I would write my lead-ins. It was less, this job here is more watch and react. It doesn't do me any good on a Saturday. Now on a Friday, I'll write some stuff, or on a Tuesday or Wednesday. On a Saturday, it doesn't do me any good to write anything because we're only talking about what we've all sat and watched together. So the beauty of that is sitting in that studio with those guys all day, and we're just talking about what we've seen. By the time we get to the late show Saturday night, I know exactly what they want to talk about because we've talked about it all day, either on or off the air. So it's great. It's a lot of fun with these guys.
Now you're a native Okie, right?
I am. Yeah. Don't hold that against me, guys.
We got
Be
a lot
nice
of friends
now.
They don't have any problems with the Sooners these days in Austin. They love the Sooners right now.
Oh goodness, they got a root for this, right?
That's great.
But you were majored in broadcast journalism there, right? Did you know
I did.
all along you wanted to be a sportscaster?
It's funny, Kirk. I did. I knew this is what I wanted to do, but my dad, who's originally from Iran, he moved to the United States to go to college. He was he still works electrical engineer.
Oh, wow.
And he always said, you can't, and even though he loves sports, you can't make any money in this. And you're good at math and you're good at science. You should try something else. And so I actually went to OU as pre-med my first semester, took chemistry,
Right.
500 people in my class, 7:30 a.m. lab. Every all-nighter I ever pulled studying was for that one class. And after I somehow eked out a B because of a major curve, I went to my advisor and I said, you know what, I know my dad's not going to like this, but this isn't what I want to do. And so I changed it to broadcast journalism and I'm glad I did because it's worked out just fine. And to this day, my dad will still say, "I was wrong, son. I'm proud of you. You made it. I was wrong."
That sounds like work. That sounds like work. I asked my dad. My dad was making a lot of money. He was on a railroad for 35 years, and he was making just boatloads of money, good benefits.
Yeah.
And I asked him when I turned 18, I go, "Dad, can you give me a job at the railroad? I want to make what you make." And my dad goes, "You want to work for a living?" Because you've been on the student newspaper since you're in the 6th grade. I know. Just see where that takes you. Get out of college. If you don't like being a sports writer, then I'll get you a job on the railroad. So
Well, worked out for you too. Yeah, it's.
I didn't say that. I didn't say that. No. I didn't say it worked out. I'm just telling you what happened.
We're still waiting. We're still waiting.
Well, you're not on a railroad right now, so that you're on a podcast, not on a railroad.
Ain't that the truth, man?
Well, how just to dive into this SEC, how do you view Texas season? Are you kind of as mystified as we are here in Austin, Dark?
I am. It's funny because offensively, their best game came in the Red River game, and Arch's best game came in the Red River. I obviously watched that game very closely. I also do a daily radio show out of my house here in Charlotte, but it's an Oklahoma station, Oklahoma targeted. They call themselves the home of Sooner fans, and so that week after that, everybody's asking how does that happen? This defense and Arch had struggled all year, and he's picking them apart. And bottom line is they played really well that day, and Wisner ran the ball, and the offensive line suddenly came together after it was a disaster at Florida. So we started seeing like what they could be. But then there's again like Saturday or in Lexington, what happens? You can't throw the football again. You can't run the football again. You're having a hard time stopping an offense that nobody had a real difficult time stopping. And so, I'm mystified. I don't know what they are, Kirk, to be honest with you. I think that the parts are far greater than the sum of the parts. The individual pieces are better, and which is not a good sign for them sitting here at 2 losses and darn near 3. At the risk of dating this, I don't know when this will air. I don't think Saturday in Starkville is going to be easy.
Nope.
Not at all.
Not if they can't figure things out offensively. So I can't figure Texas out, to be honest with you.
You just described what they are, Dari. They're an enigma.
Yeah.
An enigma, something we can't really explain.
Yeah.
They seem to rise to occasions, but Florida, I thought, should have been an occasion. That place was rocking.
Mm-hmm.
That we were excited to be there, and they didn't rise. And so, they're one loss away from oblivion, or like Mike Tyson called it, Bolivian. They're on their way to Bolivian if they lose in Stark Vegas. And I think it all starts with Arch Manning, who's completing 52% of his passes in true road games. He's yet to have a breakout performance in a true road game. Let me ask you point blank, because I know Kirk Bohls picked him to win the Heisman, and he's got
Kirk,
he's
is
got
that
a
right?
couple of sessions scheduled for the couch, later. But did everybody just miss on Arch, or is it just too early? Because even a guy like with a Manning on the back of his jersey can struggle after 8 career starts.
I don't want to go there yet. And if he hadn't gone to Texas, he had 100 other suitors that would have loved to have him. And I don't know that we go there yet. What I do understand is why Sark was loyal to Quinn Ewers last year. We've all, I think, learned that Quinn Ewers was a better option than Arch Manning. Right. I'm not ready to say yet that everybody missed on Arch. We see some good things. His composure in the pocket, I think, is really good. At least in that day in Dallas, I thought he was exceptional. He faced a heck of a rush over and over again. I think only took 1 sack, was able to throw effectively on the run, made really good decisions, never put the football in harm's way, while we saw John Mateer throw 3 interceptions that could have been 5 or 6. So there's good things there. He hasn't been able to string them together. But I think there's enough to still stay optimistic with. But He absolutely has to be a college football player in 2026. That's undeniable in my estimation.
No question.
Yeah.
I keep wondering, guys, if he maybe doesn't bench him, because that's a harsh word, and we know the repercussions of that nationally if he chooses to go down that road. But you can't let one player hold a team hostage either. And I always wonder, another bad game and maybe, okay, try Matt Caldwell, try Trey Owens or KJ Lacey. And for those who say, well, he just doesn't have anything behind him, well, that would be the biggest indictment of Sark and his recruiting and evaluation, because he thinks he has good quarterbacks behind him.
That's right. And when you look at Sark, I don't think it's quite as dire as the other example I'm going to give. But when you think of offensive head coaches, you don't expect to see struggles at quarterback, right? It's not as bad as Hugh Freeze. That's the other one I'm looking at, and I'm like, I don't know why, his entire tenure at Auburn, they can't get off the ground offensively. That's one of those mysteries too. I don't think Sark is in that boat yet,
right?
Because we saw last year that they weren't in that boat. But you do have to, if there is no backup, and I don't know enough about the backup situation there. Sure, that's an indictment, but at the same time, you guys, this. In this era of college football, if you do have a quality backup, you are absolutely fortunate, and you're in the minority, because quarterbacks that aren't playing aren't going to stick around.
How good is Mississippi State? I know the defense has been exceptional, 13 takeaways. That's tied with Texas for the most in the SEC. They don't give up a ton of big plays. Had Tennessee on the brink.
Mm-hmm.
Should it be Florida? They kick a 46-yarder instead of getting greedy, Lebby. So how close is Mississippi State to breaking through, and how concerned should Texas be about Cowbell?
I think they're really close. You're right about that. I don't know why Lebby's throwing the football there when you can set up for a 45, 46-yard field goal or run the ball. Maybe you're looking at a 40, 42-yarder. They didn't play well at A&M, and that's really the one where you look at and you say, but you're right. That followed a Tennessee game, which was complete heartbreak right there for them. They're there. I think Mississippi State, I know they've lost 15 straight conference games. That string is going to get broken sooner rather than later. He did a really good job in the portal in the offseason of addressing the lines of scrimmage. He said, we weren't big enough. We weren't fast enough. We were not SEC ready. He hammered the lines of scrimmage, and that really said on defense, like you were talking about. I don't think there's any doubt Texas could lose this football game if they cannot figure out their offensive issues. And walking into that place, cowbells ringing, and you guys know this, right? Outside of Texas, everybody wants to root against Texas. And if they haven't had the chance in their lifetime to root against Texas,
here's your chance.
There's your chance, and it will be rowdy. It will be packed. It will be loud. And so, it's a challenge. And I would not be the least bit surprised if State got that win.
They're going to have to get more than 8 first downs and 179 yards of offense, probably.
Those were baffling numbers. But looking at that box, I mean, we watched the Kentucky game in studio, and when it was over, I was just looking at the box score some more, and I was like, I knew they struggled, but I didn't even know it was this bad. Like, those numbers are staggering, Kirk.
It really was.
I saw the page, and I go, oh, wait, they gave us the first half stats. I need the full game.
Yeah.
And then I go, oh, this is the full game. That's how bad. That's how bad it was.
Got to get better. It's got to get better. Or it won't. Yeah.
So at this point, do you believe in Texas A&M, Dari?
So I think they have a phenomenal win, maybe the best in the country at Notre Dame. No doubt about it. Huge win for them. Their conference wins have kind of been against bottom feeders, and they haven't always been easy. So I think that they're really good. I think that Mike Elko is fantastic. I think that Marcel Reed's fantastic. I think they've got Concepcion and Craver, a wide receiver. Great portal hauls there.
Very good.
Defensively, they're better than I thought they'd be. Like, I think I'm a believer. I just want to, go to Tiger Stadium and handle your business Saturday. Let's see what happens down the road. I just still think I'd like to see them beat higher quality competition in this league, but I certainly think they're one of the 3 best teams in this league.
Yeah.
But I know that doesn't make Aggie fans happy. They only want to hear that they're clearly the best team in this league, and I just don't know yet that they are, but they could be.
Yeah.
They really they really hate to hear people in Austin say that Aggie will Aggie. But I got to ask, I'm a fan of the SEC Network Power Rankings, and you got Alabama at the top, and then A&M, Georgia, Ole Miss, Tennessee, Missouri, and Vanderbilt. Which one of those teams in the top six? Oh, I forgot what podcast we're doing. You got Texas at 8. That's what people care about. But which one of those teams has the best chance to unseat Bama at number 1? Is it A&M, Georgia, or Ole Miss?
Yeah, it might be A&M. Bama already beat Georgia. That certainly dings them there. I think A&M might be that team. I'm certainly buying them. Let's see if Ole Miss gets past Oklahoma in Norman Saturday. I think then we can kind of start seeing how much we buy them. And on the same token, if Oklahoma handles its business and looks much better offensively, then we can start maybe talking about them. I think Vanderbilt absolutely deserves some credit and recognition for potentially being a team that could find its way to Atlanta. And I realize that sounds ridiculous to say, and even more ridiculous to hear somebody say, but they're a complete football team on both lines of scrimmage, with maybe the best quarterback in this league and weapons all over the place. I think Vanderbilt's going to give Texas a heck of a battle, guys, in Austin in a couple of weeks. And
They will.
I really do. At this point, it's unusual by this point in the season to not really have any idea who's going to end up in Atlanta. I feel pretty good about Alabama, but outside of that, you could tell me any number of about 7 teams end up there, and I would say, okay, sure, buy that.
That's how deep this league is. I was on a teleconference call today and asked Lane Kiffin, do you see 5 SEC teams getting in the CFP? And he said, yeah, I do. And then he kind of went into that. What would Vegas do? I mean, there would be 5, if not more, but
there could be, but let me ask you guys a question. Cause I address this every day on my radio show with the Oklahoma fans. Isn't this so much more fun than the Big 12, guys?
I don't want to fall victim to recency bias.
Stop.
But you're damn right. It's the most fun.
It's so fun.
It is the most fun I've ever had covering college football.
It's every week.
Road games. Oh my God.
It's football heaven. It's football heaven.
Yeah,
and Vanderbilt's probably a fringe CFP team. Is that okay? I mean, very good team in fringe.
Yeah.
How do you think if you put Vanderbilt in the Big Ten right now this year?
In the Big Ten?
Yeah, how would Vanderbilt fare? And it's not one of the 5 teams here.
The only 2 teams I know that I'd put ahead of them, maybe 3, Ohio State, Indiana, Oregon. I think Vanderbilt could hold its own against Michigan, Illinois, anybody else, Nebraska, anybody else you want to throw in that conversation. They might hold themselves against those other teams too, with the way they play defense.
I'm going to tell you, it's a blast. It's just a freaking blast. And we were blown away by SEC media days. We cover Big 12 media days, and they're fine. Usually they were in Dallas. But the pomp and circumstance, the coverage, it felt, I told Kirk when we were in Atlanta, it feels like we're covering an NFL, like we're covering a Super Bowl, and it's the summer. Games haven't even started yet. It is really mind-blowing how much passion there is in this conference, and we are loving it, frankly.
This was my 15th, I think, and I'm not going to lie, by like the end of day 3, I'm ready to go to home and go to bed, but it is a special, the whole "it just means more" thing obviously gets kind of overplayed and overused and oversaid, but that's just one of those examples, man. I mean, you can have, 40 hours, 50 hours of programming over 4 days, and people are gobbling it up, and, they're tweeting about it and posting everywhere else about it. And they'll tell you about it when you see them out and about somewhere. Oh, it was funny. I saw that interview with so-and-so. And no, man, it's a different beast, Next year's in Tampa. Did I see that right? Is that?
It is. You are correct.
We had an SEC tournament there one year for basketball. That was a
great town. That's fun, man.
It's a great town.
Women's 5-4. We were there women's 4 just recently.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
exactly. One other thing I want to ask you about the coaching sweepstakes. Already seen a couple of SEC coaches let go. And I think we're going to see a couple more. What do you make of it, and the fact that they're happening so early in seasons now, Dari?
Yeah. So, anytime we've ever gone through a season where there were no coaching changes, like last year, we
Yeah.
always are met with several the next year. And this
Right.
was somewhat predictable. So, yeah, there will be more. I certainly think there will be more. I think Auburn, Arkansas is just massive for Auburn and for Hugh Freeze and
Oh,
Fayetteville
yeah,
and,
definitely.
on Saturday. It's interesting doing it this time of year, but I think that's the landscape we're in. When you have your boosters and your donors saying, we're not giving another dollar right now because we feel that it's being wasted because we've got a staff that is not generating any interest or any wins or any whatever, and they start saying, we're not going to give, you
Yeah.
have no choice but to make that decision now. Where I'm most fascinated, guys, is when the hires start taking place, because the calendar is the calendar,
Ooh,
signing
tough.
days in December. The portal doesn't open till January 2nd. You got 15 days on that. Like, you want to hire a James Franklin, fine. A Mike Gundy, fine. They're out there, they can get to work. But otherwise, if you're waiting to hire a coach that's got a playoff opportunity, a playoff potential, and that coach isn't going to leave that team, I don't know. I honestly have no idea what these ADs are going to do.
Yeah, that's going to be a real X factor. And I know everybody's talking about Franklin and Lane Kiffin even. And the three guys I have on my mind that I would look at would be Brent Key from Georgia Tech, Jim Blum at Louisville, and even Clark Lee at Vanderbilt. They might
if you can get him.
Yes, I think they're terrific coaches. They would do well.
I'll tell you who I like. I'm a big fan of Eli Drinkwitz.
Oh yeah.
That's my guy. I like Eli.
I don't know if he'd leave. He and Lane have good situations, don't they?
They do.
Yeah,
they do.
But if he can go to a Big Ten team and be top 2, top 3, instead of being middle of the pack in the SEC, I would do that.
I've said if I'm Florida, that's who I'd make a run at.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I might
or Florida State if Norvell gets the uniform.
Yeah. He's a great coach, man, and he's done a really good job at a place that's not the easiest place to win. But he's recruited his tail off, utilizing St. Louis and Kansas City and hitting home runs in the portal. So this era, man, if you can mix and match your high school kids and the portal, you give yourself a chance every year.
Well, would Florida job be better than Missouri or Ole Miss?
I don't know. Like
in the 601 almost.
I mean,
I know where I'd rather live. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I might rather live in Oxford than Gainesville, to be honest with you. But
well, I mean, personally, I
hear you. I do hear you there. I hate that it's that way, but I do. I don't know if it's a better job. You've got more access to great high school talent.
True.
That's undeniable.
Right.
But if you're not making your program with high school talent and less programs are being made with high school talent, I mean, how many times anymore, you work your tail off to get a kid that comes in and after his freshman year, he leaves anyway. And a lot of times they go knock on the door of the coach that finished second in the initial recruiting, and the coach just waits. It's like, you know what? I didn't get you now, but I'll grab you in a year. Don't worry about it. Go have fun down there for now. So I think that kind of helps limit the discrepancy maybe between a Florida with its fertile high school recruiting base and an Ole Miss or even a Missouri with a less fertile base, because your roster just looks a little different now in the way you put it together.
And it just seems everybody's recruiting nationally with the portal now.
Sure. Absolutely.
Yeah. And everybody's wondering why Sark doesn't get offensive linemen. He's never gotten a portal offensive lineman, and that's kind of,
that's about to change.
It's hurt him now. It's hurt him this year.
Got to change.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and your Sooners, they going to run the table lastly?
We've got to find the table first, though. Find the table, then run it.
I wouldn't say they're going to run it. This is a big weekend. With Ole Miss coming, it's a big weekend. I love the defense. Can they run the football the way they did against South Carolina last week against defenses that are going to get a lot better? I think that kind of set the tone for a lot of what they're able to do this year. But, I wouldn't put 9-3 beyond them, but it's, you still got to go to Tennessee and Alabama, and you still got Missouri, LSU, and Ole Miss. So it's a grind.
Every week.
Man.
It's
Love
so much better though, man. It's so much
Yes, sir.
better this way.
The stands are
Man,
always full, always full.
Dari, thank you so much for joining us, man. This has been a blast. We'll be tuning in this weekend while we're on the road in Stark Vegas to see what you guys got to say, and let's try to reconvene around CFP time. I'm
Sure.
thinking that me and Kirk might have a lot of free time on our hands around then.
Too soon. Too
Yeah,
soon.
I'd be happy to, guys. Thank you all for having me.
Thank you, Dari.
Thank you, man.
Take care.
See you
Bye-bye.
guys. Bye.
Doug, great conversation with Dari Nowkhah. We got to get him back on. He was fun.
He's good. He's good. Knows his stuff.
Well, 3:15 kickoff, Central Time, Texas, Mississippi State. You know, one thing that we didn't really delve too deep into is our colleague Anwar Richardson of OrangeBloods.com asked Sarkisian about, have you given any thoughts of maybe hiring an offensive coordinator to call plays and maybe settling more into that CEO role? Because we experienced that under Mac Brown, who had great success with Greg Davis. And Sark, this is what he had to say.
Because that's why I got hired. I was a really good offensive coordinator. So I believe in what we're able to do. Every year we have to continually evolve, and there's years we're going to be better on offense than we are on defense. There's going to be years we're better on defense than we are on offense, but it's like if I was the best outside sales guy and then I had a startup company, surely I'm going to go to the sales meetings if I'm trying to sell something, right? And so if that's one of your strengths, I'm always going to tap into the strength that I have. And I think, being a play caller on offense is one of my strengths. Some may disagree. That's okay.
It's obvious he doesn't want to do it. So what do you think about that? Do you think Sark can win a championship at Texas and still wear all of these hats, including one as the play caller?
I do. And I think he could have done that last year, except for maybe one toss sweep. They punched that in there. It's a tie game with a couple of minutes left in the Cotton Bowl. So that game's a pick-em at that point. So I don't think he's done his best job calling plays, but, a lot of that blame goes to the offensive line, Arch Manning, and the receivers. So, it's hard to separate and say which comes first, the play call itself or the execution of those plays. So the trend is to give up those play calling duties. Ryan Day did. He's on like his third play caller now that Chip Kelly helped him, get a national championship. Got Brian Hartline calling plays for him. So, I think we're seeing it more and more because of the demands of the job, because he is the head coach. He is the offensive coordinator. He is the general manager. He's the emperor, he runs everything. So it's a lot to do, but I think that's the joy that he has because he loves calling plays. And the thing I would say is that how much does he listen to input, from others on the play calling, either, during the week as they prepare the game plan and during the game when they have to make adjustments.
Yeah, and I'm of the opinion that, if he did it, it would have to be next year. You're not going to just hand off midseason to A.J. Milwee or Kyle Flood. You're not going to do that. We know that's not going to happen. But if a big name that doesn't want to be a head coach anymore, a Greg Davis type, were there, would that be intriguing? Personally, I would say no. I don't think Sarkisian ever wants to give up those car keys. I just don't think that he's going to do it because he believes he's the best play caller in the business. But the question I have for you, Duck, is that being the best play caller in the business hindering his development of a five-star quarterback who was pegged for greatness but has encountered some struggles?
I blame him more for talent evaluation of the offensive line. Arch has not developed. We all know that. It's plain for all to see. But the fact that he didn't get anybody out of the portal in the offensive line, and for him to, trying to win the SEC with a true freshman, a redshirt freshman, a backup center. Trevor Goosby's not exactly a veteran. He had one start coming into to this season. So it's not a veteran offensive line. And again, just like the play calling, it's hard to know what comes first. But with better protection, I think Arch is going to develop quicker. He had good protection at Columbus. It didn't pay dividends, but they protected him just fine in Columbus, and it's on Arch to do the rest.
Well, what happens in Mississippi, Duck? I've been on the fence, man. I've been on the fence, and I know my colleagues. I know David Eckerd's picking Mississippi State. I'm gonna go with the team I think that's a better team overall, and that's Texas, even though it's a beehive. And sooner or later, you would think that they're gonna figure something out. I think Mississippi State's better than Kentucky, but I don't know that Texas is gonna play that badly on offense for 2 games in a row. I'm taking the Horns by a field goal.
I'm probably right there with you, Sid. I mean, they were
Don't be a
horrendous.
homer, Bohls.
I picked Kentucky last week. I think they followed up that horrendous performance at Florida and played great on both sides of the ball against Oklahoma. Now they had a horrendous offensive performance in Lexington, so you would think they'd follow it up because the whole world's doubting them. And when you get 8 first downs in a game, that's probably not going to beat anybody. It's probably definitely not going to beat 2 teams in a row on the road. So I think Mississippi State is greatly improved, but like Dari said, 15 straight conference losses, and that's got to end sometime. But I don't know. I don't think this team is ready for the season to end like it probably would for all practical purposes if they stub their toe in Starkville.
Gotta give them the benefit of the desperation doubt.
Yeah.
If ever there was a time for them to show up, it's now. And 0-15 is 0-15. A lot of these guys for the Bulldogs weren't on the team back then, but it's still a program that hasn't experienced one.
Yeah.
They're close, Duck. Just like Dari said, they're close. But I'm taking Texas to keep them at bay for at least another week.
Yeah, I mean, Jeff Levy, he's 0-11 in SEC play. And like we were talking about the Mississippi State-Florida game, I was watching it today, and they are driving, for the winning field goal when he gets intercepted by a defensive tackle. And they got Booth is a really good running back, and their defense is much improved. I know they lost one player, Tillman, looked like he was called for targeting in the second half, so they'll be without him. But Texas is going to be without Michael Taft, and that's no minor loss considering, communication's so important back there. So one other thing I learned while watching that Florida game is that Florida had 3 freshmen playing in their secondary, that all 4 of their starters were hurt. And so they were trying to play with 3 freshmen. So, but it was on the road for Mississippi State, and they didn't quite get it done. Had a touchdown call back. It was, and had some misfortune there. But it's all in for this game because you got to win each game. And like we learned and relearned last week, doesn't matter what the score is, just got to win.
Style points don't matter in the SEC, man. Just got to get a dub. Just got to get a dub.
Absolutely.
Well, that's going to do it for us this week on Second Thought. Big props. We appreciate Dari Nowkhah of SEC Now and the SEC Network for joining us. Check out Kirk Bohls' stuff on HoustonChronicle.com. You can find my musings on Statesman.com. We will see you in Stark Vegas. Looking forward to it. And for those viewing on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts, we appreciate you joining us this week. For the Duck, Kirk Bohls, I'm Sid Golden. We'll see you next time.
That's a wrap. You've just experienced On Second Thought, powered by Hookem.com. Want more? Join Sed and Kirk every Thursday for a fun sports ride from the ATX. Find archived episodes anytime on YouTube, Apple, Google Play, and Yahoo.